All right. Oh, yeah. Hey, how are you? I wanted to just make a video about this guitar that I picked up recently because mainly there's not very much information or videos on YouTube or anywhere about these guitars, and they're kind of unusual. It's sort of a slightly rare, but like not an expensive guitar by any means. But there's not a whole lot of info out there about them. So what it is it's a Charvel, and you can see it's got the kind of old Jackson style Charvel logo, not the newer one with the kind of guitar body shape. Now, somewhat it originally would have said ST Custom here. It's a Charvel STX Custom, and someone has looks like they've sanded off the STX Custom. But it's a made in Japan, ash body, rosewood fretboard, maple neck, battery box there for the active electronics. Now, these are British made. They're called Reflex. I think you can see the name there. It's not really very clear, but these are Reflex silver pickups. Now, Reflex made reds, blues, and silvers. The silvers were the medium output ones. Reds were the hottest, and blues were the bluesiest or lowest output. It has a Schaller made double locking tremolo system, locking nut, vintage style, kind of Clouson style, like old Fender style tuners. A pretty nice medium C, very very standard kind of feeling. Slightly wider than your Strat, maybe a hair thinner, but very comfortable Strat like neck. It has medium jumbo frets. It's also got like some nice kind of, again I can't see with the camera, but slightly pearly dots. If I can zoom in here, you can see the dots. Let me get zoom in. They're actually pearl, quite nice. Oh yeah, you can see the Reflex logo on the pickups there. So the pickups are actually passive pickups, but behind the scratch plate there is an active box. I think they call it the magic box, and it's a little preamp with a few wires coming out of it. And I have my phone here for some info about these. This one I think was built in 1992. I don't know what the serial number tell me anything. It doesn't actually say made in Japan on it, but I believe it was made in Japan, as they all were. And yeah, the electronics are unusual in that they're I believe the pickups themselves are passive, but then they're all wired into this little black box that's under the scratch plate, and they don't come wired with a regular volume and say tone controls. What they have is a volume, an active mid cut or boost control, and then an active treble boost or cut control. So I'll give you a demo of that now in a minute. But so there's very little, very few videos on YouTube about these guitars. I bought it because I'm a sucker for 80s style stuff, and I love Steve Lukather. I'd love a Valley Arts. I have a couple of Music Man Luke guitars, but the Valley Arts is kind of the holy grail. Always, out of reach, primarily because of rarity, but also they're so expensive now. You're talking, between 6,000 and 10,000 euros probably for a reasonably good one. But this kind of gave me Valley Artsy vibes. It's got the jumbo frets. It's got this kind of, I think this would probably be, it might have been the Cherry Sunburst. I think it's Tobacco Sunburst as well. I'm just looking at the different iterations that it came in. As I said, there's not very much information about these. The other unusual thing is when these were released into the American market, there was a trademark copyright dispute with Fender because they've used essentially the Fender's headstock. So they had to cut this piece off here. So you'll often see these with this kind of unattractive triangular headstock, where they literally just had to bandsaw off the offending end of the headstock to make it look less like a Fender. So this one obviously must have been released into Europe, where they didn't have that same lawsuit against them. But so that's kind of a little bit of history about the guitar. As I said, there's not a whole lot of info out there about these. And similarly, the electronics, not a whole lot of information out there. You really have to go digging on Google to find information. Now there are wiring diagrams and stuff, which is useful if you wanted to, if you ever needed to modify this. Actually, when I got it, the treble, someone had been inside it and had kind of disconnected the treble control, so it didn't do anything. The mid control worked fine. So I took the scratch plate off. I figured out how to get that working, and I've also done a couple of very minor modifications. One is this switch here, which is it's just a simple neck on switch. So if you're in the bridge position on the 5-way, you flick that up, it adds the neck in. So then obviously if you're in the second position and you've got the bridge and middle, flick that switch up, you now have all three together. It's just something I find useful, and for the 80s clean sounds that this is very good at, that's a kind of a nice addition. I also then I put just a treble bleed capacitor resistor combination. It's a 330 picofarad capacitor wired in with I think it's a 100 ohm resistor. Just literally put it across two of the lugs of the volume control, and then when you roll the volume down, you don't lose any of your top end. Something I do to all my guitars. Just makes it more versatile, especially when you're using distortion and you just want to wind the gain back a little bit just on the guitar, but you don't want to lose all your top end. Some people like them, some people don't. I like them, so I added that to this. So yeah, so I'll give you a quick run through of the sounds. I have basically a Fender Deluxe model on my HX Stomp here. So this is clean Fender Deluxe. So that's the bridge pickup. We'll go to the second position. Middle pickup. Middle and neck. And then the neck on its own. Okay, so that's the basic pickup sounds. Now I'll just demonstrate the neck on switch, because that's... So if I'm in the bridge pickup, flick this up. Just a slight, it's kind of, obviously it's a humbucker, so it overpowers the neck pickup a little bit, but adding that in just because it gives it a little bit of that telly twang. Which is cool, and then I'll demonstrate the all three as well. Okay, so that's just that little addition, and then I'll roll the volume back so you can hear it. You don't lose any top end when you adjust the volume, which is very useful. Now, these active controls. The mid control gets really, really honky when you turn it up, so I'll demonstrate that. So I'll turn it up a little bit. You can hear it starting to get wah wah wah. That's full up now. I'll go the other way, I'll go back to 0. Turn the mids down. That's all the way down now. Really scoops the mids out of the bridge pickup, especially, which could be useful if you're, you know, if you're using a lot of clean sounds on your neck pickup, and you go to your bridge and it's a bit much. Just wind that mid back a little bit. Kind of makes it a little bit skinnier sounding. Not quite single coil, but takes a bit of that harshness out of it. actually sweetens it up quite nicely. Similarly, if you're on, say, the neck and middle, that real stratty kind of thing that we all like, finding it's a bit too thin, maybe it's not cutting through the mix a little bit, you could boost up the mids. So starts to get a little overpowering right towards the end of the travel of the knob, but again, it's just a different thing. And the treble, then I'll again demonstrate that. I'll do that on the neck pickup. So just turn it up a little bit. A little bit. Starting to get very harsh now. And I'll go the back way. Back to the center. It's all the way off now. So it's not quite like a traditional tone controller. It doesn't really get real fuzzy and woolly sounding. It just kind of tames the high end a bit. From my investigations as well, there was a diagram from the pickup manufacturer. You could actually install these with the active mid control and just a standard tone control if you wanted. They actually gave you the options to do that as if you wanted to change it, if you were buying the pickups. So where I would find this kind of interesting and useful is, I'll just set to another. This is the same amp model, but now what I've done, I've blended in a little bit of just a dry signal, basically routing in the HX stomp just around the cabinet simulation, and it adds in a lot of sparkly high end. So added some chorus, bit of delay. Now here's that neck on, so I'm in the second position here. I'll add the neck in now. There's the neck in. Subtle, but neck out, neck in. Kind of softens it, that second position a little bit. Great for 80s kind of clean sounds. Now, again, where this mid control might be useful is if you're finding that sound, all three pickups together, very scooped. You could boost in a little bit of mids. Starts to just get a little bit rounder sounding. Then also you could add more treble. Again, it's just options. It's nice to have options. Okay, so I'm going to switch to a dirty sound now. And this is a let me see here now. This is a Soldano-ish. Soldano OD model in the HX stomp. Now, again, I'll just demonstrate that if you turn the volume down. Keeps the top end, but you can basically dial back the gain on your sound just by rolling back the volume. Now, if you're you like to just, do everything on your guitar, you could use this mid control to give yourself a bit of a solo kind of cut by adding in a bit more mids. the neck pickup, make it a bit thicker. It almost gets that kind of Cocktail Santana-y kind of sound. And again, conversely, you can suck some mids out. This makes it a bit skinnier sounding. And then again, you could boost in treble. It's pretty gnarly sounding with too much treble. So again, it's just options. I'll stick on a bit of delay, bit of chorus. Just boost up the mid and the treble a little bit for more gain. Saying that sound, I've rolled the neck pickup volume back, but it's a little bit dull. I could add a bit of treble. Maybe pull the mids out. Cleans up even further. So you can almost get a clean sound. Pull out the mids, boost the treble, volume back. That's practically clean now. Pull the mids back further. A little bit more treble. Now put that back in the center. It's back in the center. That's what you're, you can get a lot of range of tones out of just one sound. So I think that'll do it. It's a bit of a long video for just a quick demo, but I just found this is an interesting guitar. There's not much info out there. There's very little on YouTube about these, so I thought it'd be fun to just do a quick video, and at least there's some record of this thing on the internet then. And my plan for it is maybe down the line I might change the hardware. Change the bridge, the nut, the tuners, and this one knob for gold to make it look like a bit more like the old Steve Lukather Valley Arts. I'll leave these two black because they kind of hide the kind of this sort of camouflaged out of the way. But I think gold knob, gold bridge, gold tuners, give it that Valley Arts kind of look. And but it's a great playing guitar. It sounds cool. The pickups are quite hi-fi. Might not suit everyone's taste, but just a nice something different to have in the collection, and hopefully I'll get some good use out of it. But yes, it's scratching that Valley Arts itch that I just too poor to scratch. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and anybody out there has got one of these guitars, drop a comment, let me know, send me give us a link or show us some pictures of yours. Because, like I said, they're kind of a rare bird. I don't see too many of them around. Anyway, thanks for watching.